Chapter 2, People as Resource. Overview. The chapter People as a Resource is an effort to explain population as an asset for the economy rather than a liability. Population becomes human capital when there is investment made in the form of education, training, and medical care. In fact, human capital is the stock of skill and productive knowledge embodied in them. People as a resource is a way of referring to a country's working people in terms of their existing productive skills and abilities. Looking at the population from this productive aspect emphasizes its ability to contribute to the creation of the gross national product. Like others resources, population also is a resource. A human resource. This is the positive side of a large population that is often overlooked when we look only at the negative side, considering only the problems of providing the population with food, education, and access to health facilities. When the existing human resource is further developed by becoming more educated and healthy, we call it human capital formation that adds to the productive power of the country, just like physical capital formation. Investment in human capital through education, training, medical care yields a return just like investment in physical capital. This can be seen directly in the form of higher incomes earned because of higher productivity of the more educated or the better trained persons, as well as the higher productivity of healthier people. Not only do the more educated and the healthier people gain through higher incomes, society also gains in other indirect ways because the advantages of a more educated or a healthier population spreads to those also who themselves were not directly educated or given health care. In fact, human capital is the one way superior to other resources like land and physical capital. Human resource can make use of land and capital. Land and capital cannot become useful on its own. For many decades in India, a large population has been considered a liability rather than an asset. But a large population need not be a burden for the economy. It can be turned into a productive asset by investment in human capital. For example, by spending resources on education and health for all, training of industrial and agriculture workers in the use of modern technology, useful scientific researches, and so on. The two following cases illustrate how people can try to become a more productive resource. Story of Sakal. There were two friends, Vilas and Sakal, living in the same village, Simapur. Sakal was a 12-year-old boy. His mother Sheila looked after domestic chores. His father Butta Chaudhary worked in an agricultural field. Sakal helped his mother in domestic chores. He also looked after his younger brother Jitu and sister Situ. His uncle Shyam had passed the matriculation examination but was sitting idle in the house as he had no job. Bhutta and Sheila were eager to teach Sakal. They forced him to join the village school, which he soon joined. He started studying and completed his higher secondary examination. His father persuaded him to continue his studies. He raised a loan for Sakal to study a vocational course in computers. Sakal was meritorious and interested in studies from the beginning. With great vigor and enthusiasm, he completed his course. After some time, he got a job in a private firm. He even designed a new kind of software. This software helped him increase the sale of the firm. His boss acknowledged his services and rewarded him with a promotion. Story of Vilas. Vilas was an 11-year-old boy residing in the same village as Sakal. Vilas' father Mahesh was a fisherman. His father passed away when he was only 2 years old. His mother Geeta sold fish to earn money to feed the family. She bought fish from the landowner's pond and sold it in the nearby mandi. She could earn only rupees 150 a day by selling fish. Vilas became a patient of arthritis. His mother could not afford to take him to the doctor. He could not go to school either. He was not interested in studies. He helped his mother in cooking and also looked after his younger brother Mohan. After some time, his mother fell sick and there was no one to look after her. There was no one in the family to support them. Vilas too was forced to sell fish in the same village. He, like his mother, earned only a mere income. In the two case studies we saw, Sakal went to school and Vilas did not go. Sakal was physically strong and healthy. There was no need for him to visit the doctor frequently. Vilas was a patient of arthritis. He lacked the means to visit the doctor. Sakal acquired a degree in computer programming. Sakal found a job in a private firm while Vilas continued with the same work as his mother. He earned a meager income like his mother to support a family. In the case of Sakal, several years of education added to the quality of labor. This enhanced his total productivity. Total productivity adds to the growth of the economy. This in turn pays an individual through salary or in some other form of his choice. In case of Vilas, there could not be any education or health care in the early part of his life. He spends his life selling fish like his mother. Henceforth, he draws the same salary of unskilled laborer as his mother. Investment in human resource via education and medical care can give high rates of return in future. This investment on people is the same as investment in land and capital. A child too with investments made on her education and health can yield a high return in future in the form of higher earnings and greater contribution to the society. Educated parents are found to invest more heavily on the education of their children. This is because they have realized the importance of education for themselves. They are also conscious of proper nutrition and hygiene. They accordingly look after their children's needs for education at school and good health. A virtuous cycle is thus created in this case. In contrast, a vicious cycle may be created by disadvantaged parents who themselves uneducated and lacking in hygiene keep their children in a similarly disadvantaged state. Countries like Japan have invested in human resource. They did not have any natural resource. These countries are developed or rich. They import the natural resources needed in their country. How did they become rich or developed? They have invested on people, especially in the field of education and health. These people have made efficient use of other resources like land and capital. Efficiency and the technology evolved by people have made these countries rich or developed. Economic activities by men and women. Like Vilas and Sakal, people who have been engaged in various activities, we saw that Vilas sold fish and Sakal got a job in the firm. The various activities have been classified into three main sectors, that is, primary, secondary, and tertiary. Primary sector includes agriculture, forestry, animal husbandry, fishing, poultry, farming, mining, and quarrying. Manufacturing is included in the secondary sector. Trade, transport, communication, banking, education, health, tourism, service, insurance, etc. are included in the tertiary sector. The activities in this sector result in the production of goods and services. These activities add value to the national income. These activities are called economic activities. Economic activities have two parts, market activities and non market activities. Market activities involve remuneration to anyone who performs, that is, activity performed for pay or profit. These include production of goods or services, including government services. Non market activities are production for self consumption. These can be consumption and processing of primary product and own account production of fixed assets. Due to historical and cultural reasons, there is a division of labor between men and women in the family. Women generally look after domestic chores and men work in the fields. Sakal's mother Sheila cooks food, cleans utensils, washes clothes, cleans the house, and looks after her children. Sakal's father Bhutta cultivates the field, sells the produce in the market, and earns money for the family. Sheila is not paid for the services delivered for upbringing of the family. Buddha earns money, which he spends on rearing his family. Women are not paid for their services delivered in the family. The household work done by women is not recognized in the national income. Geeta, mother of Vilas, earned an income by selling fish. Thus, women are paid for their work when they enter the labor market. Their earning, like that of their male counterpart, is determined on the basis of education and skill. Education helps individual to make better use of the economic opportunities available before him. Education and skill are their major determinants of the earning of any individual in the market. A majority of women have meager education and low skill formation. Women are paid low compared to men. Most women work where job security is not there. Various activities relating to legal protection is meager. Employment in this sector is characterized by irregular and low income. In this sector, there is an absence of basic facilities like maternity leave, child care, and other social security systems. However, women with high education and skill formation are paid at par with the men. Among the organized sector, teaching and medicine attract them the most. Some women have entered administrative and other services, including jobs that need high levels of scientific and technological competency. Ask your sister or your classmate what she would like to take up as a career. Quality of population. The quality of population depends upon the literacy rate, health of a person indicated by life expectancy, and skill formation acquired by the people of the country. The quality of the population ultimately decides the growth rate of the country. Literate and healthy population are an asset. Education. Sakal's education in the initial years of his life bore him the fruits in the latter years in terms of a good job and salary. We saw education was an important input for the growth of Sakal. It opened new horizons for him, provided new aspirations and developed values of life. Not only for Sakal, education contributes towards the growth of society also. It enhances the national income, cultural richness, and increases the efficiency of governance. There is a provision made for providing universal access, retention, and quality in elementary education with a special emphasis on girls. There is also an establishment of base setting of schools like Navodaya Vidyalaya in each district. Vocational streams have been developed to equip large number of high school students with occupations related to knowledge and skills. The plan outlay on education has increased from rupees 151 crore in the first plan to rupees 3766.90 crore in the 11th plan. The expenditure on education as a percentage of GDP rose from 0.64% in 1951 to 52 to 3% in 2015 to 16 and has remained stagnant around 3% from past few years. The budgetary estimate as stated in the budget. Documents of state governments, Reserve Bank of India, the expenditure on education as a percentage of GDP has declined to 2.7% in 2017 to 18. The literacy rates have increased from 18% in 1951 to 74% in 2010 to 11. Literacy is not only a right, it is also needed if the citizens are to perform their duties and enjoy their rights properly. However, a vast difference is noticed across different sections of the population. Literacy among males is nearly 16.6% higher than females, and it is about 16.1% higher in urban areas as compared to rural areas. In 2011, literacy rates varied from 94% in Kerala to 62% in Bihar. The primary school system has expanded to over 8.41 lakh in 2015 to 16. Unfortunately, this huge expansion of schools has been diluted by the poor quality of schooling and high dropout rates. Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan is a significant step towards providing elementary education to all children in the age group of 6 to 14 years by 2010. It is a time bound initiative of the central government in partnership with the state, the local government, and the community for achieving the goal of universalization of elementary education. Along with it bridges courses and back to school campus have been initiated to increase the enrollment in elementary education. Midday meal scheme has been implemented to encourage attendance and retention of children and improve their nutritional status. These policies could add to the literate population of India. The 12th plan endeavored to raise the country's gross enrollment ratio in higher education in the age group of 18 to 23 years to 25.2% by 2017 to 18 and to reach the target of 30% by 2020 to 21, which would be broadly in line with world average. The strategy focuses on increasing access, quality, adoption of state specific curriculum modification, vocationalization and networking on the use of information technology. The plan also focuses on distance education, convergence of formal, non-formal, distance and IT education institutions. Over the past 50 years, there has been a significant growth in the number of university and institutions of higher learning in specialized areas. Let us read the table to see the increase in the number of college universities, enrollment of students and recruitment of teachers from 1951 to 2015 to 16. Health. Firm maximize profit. Do you think any firm would be induced to employ people who might not work efficiently as healthy workers because of ill health? The health of a person helps him to realize his or her potential and the ability to fight illness. He or she will not be able to maximize his or her output to the overall growth of the organization. Indeed, health is an indispensable basis for realizing one's well being. Henceforth, improvement in the health status of the population has been the priority of the country. A national policy too aims at improving the accessibility of health care, family welfare, and nutritional service with a special focus on the underprivileged segment of the population. Over the last 5 decades, India was built a vast health infrastructure and has also played the manpower required at primary, secondary and tertiary sector in government as well as in the private sector. These measures which have been adopted have increased the life expectancy to over 68.3 years in 2014. Infant mortality rate has come down from 147 in 1951 to 34 in 2016. Crude birth rates have dropped to 20.4 and death rates to 6.4 within the same duration of time. Increase in life expectancy and improvement in childcare are useful in assessing the future progress of the country. Increase in longevity of life is an indicator of good quality of life marked by self-confidence. Reduction in infant mortality involves the protection of children from infection, ensuring the nutrition of both the mother and the child, and child care. There are many places in India which do not have even these basic facilities. There are only 381 medical colleges in the country and 301 dental colleges. Just four states like Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Maharashtra, and Tamil Nadu have the maximum number of colleges. Unemployment. Sakal's mother Sheila looked after the domestic chores, children, and helped her husband Bhuta in the field. Sakal's brother Jitu and sister Situ spend their time playing and roaming. Can you call Sheila or Jitu or Situ unemployed? If not, why? Unemployment is said to exist when people who are willing to work at the going wages cannot find jobs. Sheila is not interested in working outside her domestic domain. Jitu and Situ are too small to be counted in the workforce population. Neither Jitu, Situ, or Sheila can be counted as unemployed. The workforce population includes people from 15 years to 59 years. Sakal's brother and sister do not fall within this age group, so they cannot be called unemployed. Sakal's mother Sheila works for the family. She is not willing to work outside her domestic domain for payment. She too cannot be called unemployed. Sakal's grandparents, although not mentioned in the story, cannot be called unemployed. In case of India, we have unemployment in rural and urban areas. However, the nature of unemployment differs in rural and urban areas. In case of rural areas, there is seasonal and disguised employment. Urban areas have mostly educated em- unemployment. Seasonal unemployment happens when people are not able to find jobs during some months of the year. People dependent upon agriculture usually face such kind of problem. There are certain busy seasons when sowing, harvesting, weeding, and threshing is done. Certain months do not provide much work to the people dependent on agriculture. In case of disguised and unemployment, people appear to be employed. They have agricultural plot where they find work. This usually happens among family members engaged in agricultural activity. The work requires the service of 5 people but engages 8 people. 3 people are extra. These 3 people also work in the same plot as the others. The contribution made by the 3 extra people does not add to the contribution made by the 5 people. If 3 people are removed, the productivity of the field will not decline. The field requires the service of 5 people, and the 3 extra people are disguised unemployed. In case of urban areas, educated unemployment has become a common phenomenon. Many youth with matriculation, graduation, and post graduation degrees are not able to find job. A study showed that unemployment of graduate and postgraduate has increased faster than among matriculates. A paradoxical manpower situation is witnessed as surplus of manpower in certain categories coexist with shortage of manpower in others. There is unemployment among technically qualified persons on one hand, while there is a dearth of technical skills required for economic growth. Unemployment leads to wastage of manpower resource. People who are an asset for the economy turn into a liability. There is a feeling of hopelessness and despair among the youth. People do not have enough money to support their family. Inability of educated people who are willing to work to find gainful employment implies a great social waste. Unemployment tends to increase economic overload. The dependence of the unemployed on the working population increases. The quality of life of an individual as well as of society is adversely affected. When a family has to live on a bare subsistence level, there is a general decline in its health status and rising withdrawal from the school system. Hence, unemployment has a detrimental impact on the overall growth of an economy. Increase in unemployment is an indicator of a depressed economy. It also wastes the resource which could have been gainfully employed. If people cannot be used as a resource, they naturally appear as liability to the economy. In case of India, statistically, the unemployment rate is low. A large number of people represented with low income and productivity are counted as employed. They appear to work throughout the year, but in terms of their potential and income, it is not adequate for them. The work that they are pushing, they are pursuing, seems forced upon them. They may therefore want other work of their choice. Poor people cannot afford to sit idle. They tend to engage in any activity irrespective of its earning potential. Their earning keeps them on a bare subsistence level. Moreover, the employment structure is characterized by self employment in the primary sector. The whole family contributes in the field even though not everybody is really needed. So there is disguised unemployment in the agriculture sector. But the entire family shares what has been produced. This concept of sharing of work in the field and the produce raised reduces the hardship of unemployment in the rural sector. But this does not reduce the poverty of the family. Gradually, surplus labor from the every household tends to migrate from the village in search of jobs. Let us discuss about the employment scenario in the three sectors mentioned earlier. Agriculture is the most labor absorbing sector of the economy. In recent years, there has been a decline in the dependence of population on agriculture partly because of disguised unemployment discussed earlier. Some of the surplus labor in agriculture has moved to either the secondary or the tertiary sector. In the secondary sector, small scale manufacturing is the most labor absorbing. In case of the tertiary sector, various new services are now appearing like biotechnology, information technology, and so on. Let us read a story to know how people could become an asset for the economy of a village. Story of a village. There was a village inhabited by several families. Each family produced enough to feed its members. Each family met its needs by the members making their own clothes and teaching their own children. One of the families decided to send one of its sons to an agriculture college. The boy got his admission in the nearby College of Agriculture. After some time, he became qualified in agro engineering and came back to the village. He proved to be so creative that he could design an improved type of plow, which increased the yield of wheat. Thus, a new job of agro engineer was created and filled in the village. The family in the village sold the surplus in nearby neighboring village. They earned good profit, which they shared among themselves. Inspired by this success, all the families after some time held a meeting in the village. They all wanted to have a better future for their children too. They requested the panchayat to open a school in the village. They assured the panchayat that they would all send their children to school. The panchayat, with the help of government, opened a school. Teacher was recruited from a nearby town. All the children of this village started going to school. After some time, one of the families gave training to his daughter in tailoring. She started stitching clothes for all the families of the village, for everyone now wanted to buy and wear well tailored clothes. Thus, another new job, that of a tailor, was created. This had another positive effect. The time of the farmers going for buying clothes was saved. As the farmers spent more time in the field, the yield of the farms went up. This was the beginning of prosperity. The farmers had more than what they could consume. Now they could sell what they produced to others who come to their village market. Over time, this village, which formerly had no job opportunities in the beginning, had many like teachers, tailor, agro engineer, and many more. This was the story of a simple village where the rising level of human capital enabled it to evolve into a place rich with complex and modern economic activities.